special report. Kun Tarin Nangsakun has a special report on Madame Tussauds new Bollywood superstar collection.
Chiang Mai Ratchapat University will launch the Chiang Mai World Green City and Eco Product Exhibition 2012 between 10 and 20 December this year. Associate Professor Dr. Wattanapong Rakwishian, Director of Asian Development Institute for Community Economy and Technology, Chiang Mai Ratchapat University, is giving us more detail about the Chiang Mai World Green City. So, giving us more detail about the Chiang Mai World Green City and expositions also in this year, in December.
You know, it's all of the people around the world. They know what is problem, main of the world problem. What is the climate change? Second is the economics, the third is energy and food shortage in the future. Why is Ratchapat University, we would like to establish the World City because the location and everything is suitable for create the World City in here in Chiang Mai. Because it's the weather at the center of the tourism, and also is the land is very nice on the mountain. And is most important is all of the agency, international agency, and international company and government cooperation. We would like for it to be the green city, for is the prototype of the city in the future.
And what do we have in the exposition?
Now it's ongoing for construction and ongoing for follow up the master plan. The master plan is cooperation with the Chulalongkorn University and some, I think, from middle from Japan and ONR from USA and some agency from Germany together to develop the master plan. We start last 2 years before, and we need about 4 years, and we be open ceremony on December this year.
What is the activity?
The activity is the theme is the activity of the city survive. But we provide on 4 zones. One zone is for the smart community, the real community with the people based on the agriculture, economics, energy and food and something. The zone B, because we are the institute, with the prototype of the green institute for the before we transfer the technology, most we invite yourself first for success for the institute first, and then if we contribute and Zone C is we for cooperation with the business and company sector for demonstration, for exhibition, for cooperation sector. And Zone B is we cooperation with the community and the people in the region, in the Asian country to develop the electricity together.
What are your expectations from this project?
On project, I think thinking is for success. Everyone agree. 100%, but we done. We work, the real work. Everything agree. Everyone agree. The industrialization of the world in the future for the good quality of life, for protect the world from the climate change and everything. Yeah.
That was Associate Professor Dr. Wattanapong Rakwishian, Director of Asian Development Institute for Community Economy and Technology, Chiang Mai Ratchapat University, talking about the Chiang Mai World Green City and Eco Product Exhibition 2012 between 10 and 20 December this year. Thailand and Second Radio 10 News.
This is Radio Thailand News. Business News. Brought to you by PTT, Power for a Sustainable Future. And in this morning's top business issues at 7:34 a.m., the Commerce Ministry had expressed its confidence that it can control inflation with a target rate set between 3.5% and 3.8% this year. Appearing on the weekly program, the Yingluck administration meets the people on Channel 11 yesterday. Minister Bunsong Peri Rom said that the ministry would ensure that consumer goods remain affordable and that prices adjustment was reasonable. The minister said that he plans to relaunch the ministry's Blue Flag Shop program to sell cheap meals for low-income people. He said that about 1,000 Blue Flag shops would be opened in Bangkok and its vicinity, and another 8,000 shops in the other provinces nationwide. Mr. Bunsong added that the ministry had more than 5,000 volunteers across the country to monitor prices of consumer products and report any unusual or amateur trade practices by local businesses.
Gasoline prices have never been higher this time of the year. At $3.53 a gallon, prices were already up 25 cents since New Year. The experts said they could reach a record of $4.25 a gallon by late April. Howard Poodle, a retired machinist from Crestwood, Missouri, had seen his monthly gasoline bill rise to $80 from about $60 in December. The closest service station is selling regular for $3.39 per gallon, the highest he has ever seen. The surge in gas prices follows an increase in the price of oil. Oil around the world was priced differently. Brent crude from the North Sea was a proxy for the foreign oil that's imported by U.S. refineries and turned into gasoline and other fuels. Its price had risen 11% so far this year to around $119 a barrel because of tensions with Iran, a cold snap in Europe, and rising demand from developing nations. West Texas Intermediate, used to price oil produced in the U.S., is up 4% to around $103 a barrel. Higher gas prices could hurt consumer spending and curtail the recent improvement in the U.S. economy. A 25% jump in gasoline prices, if sustained over a year, would cost the economy about $35 billion. That is only 0.2% of the total U.S. economy, but economists say it was a meaningful amount, especially at a time when growth was only so-so. The economy grew 2.8% in the fourth quarter, a rate considered modest following a recession. High oil and gas prices now set the stage for even sharper increases at the pump because gas typically rises in March and April.
Meanwhile, Royal Dutch Shell's drilling in the Antarctic this summer looked at another step forward on Friday when the U.S. Interior Department approved its oil spill response plan for the Shakti Sea. The department said the Shell's response plan would allow the company to rapidly contain a massive spill in the Atlantic environment. Head of the Department's Bureau of Safety and Environmental Enforcement, James Watson, said that Shell's plan to include the necessary equipment and personnel, pre-staging, training, logistics, and communications to act quickly and mount an effective response should an oil spill occur. The department said that Shell's plan would be included a fleet of specially designed ships surrounding the drilling site with equipment able to recover around 80,000 barrels of oil per day in the event of a blowout. Shell hopes to drill up to 6 wells off the coast of Alaska over the next 2 summers before any drilling can begin. However, Shell would have to apply for specific permits for each well. Environmental groups had charged that drilling in the Antarctic to rescue spill in the Antarctic would be much more difficult to handle than the 2010 BP oil spill in the Gulf of Mexico that took months to get under control.
Now moving over to another update, China's central bank cut the amount of cash that banks must hold in reserve yesterday, boosting lending capacity by an estimated 350 to 400 billion Chinese yuan in a bid to crank up credit creation as the world's second biggest economy faces a 5th successive quarter of slowing growth. The People's Bank of China, or the PBOC, was on the course of policy easing to cushion the world's fastest growing major economy against headwinds as Europe's debt crisis grinds on, although it had been treading warily. The PBOC cut big banks' reserve requirement ratio, or RRR, or that's triple R, by by 50 basis points to 20.5%, effective from next Friday, after repeatedly defying market expectations for such a move after its first cut-to ratio last November. China's economy was likely to slow to an annual growth rate of 8.2% in the first quarter from 8.9% in the previous quarter, and that's according to the latest Reuters poll. Data for January came in below market expectations, with exports contracting 0.5% from a year earlier and money supply growth falling to 12.4% from the previous month's 13.6%, which analysts said argued for more easing.
In Asia, Taiwan's Foxconn Technology reported yesterday that it had raised wages by up to 25% in the second major salary hike in less than 2 years, as the world's largest electronics contract manufacturer comes under intensive scrutiny after a spate of suicides. Foxconn employs about 1 million workers at its massive plants in China that are run with strict discipline. The workers assemble iPhones and iPads for Apple Incorporation, Xbox video games consoles for Microsoft Corporation, and computers for Dell and Hewlett-Packard. The company said Chinese workers at Foxconn now receive between 1,800 to 2,500 Chinese yuan. That's around $285 to $400 per month, following the rises that became effective at the beginning of the month. Company spokesperson Simon Singh said Foxconn was also taking measures to limit workers' total working hours, and the rises come as a compensation for the reduced overtime. The announcement came as the U.S. Fair Labor Association was inspecting Apple's Chinese suppliers for their labor practices. Foxconn said it was cooperating with the U.S. inspectors, pleading again to provide workers a safe and fair work environment. In 2010, a spate of workers' suicides at an enormous Foxconn complex in the southern boomtown of drew attention to the stress many young workers faced working in some factories. The company denied allegations that it ran excessively fast assembly lines and demanded too much overtime. It soon announced to pay hikes that more than doubled basic worker salaries of up to 2,000 yuan per month. Last month, dozens of workers assembling video game consoles climbed to Foxconn factory dormitory roof in the central Chinese city of Wuhan, and some protests amid a dispute over job that were later diffused.
Now, the collapse of the international flight airline Air Australia, which recently left 4,000 passengers stranded, was said to result in unsecured creditors losing tens of millions of Australian dollars. Hundreds of unsecured creditors, including passengers, airports, and ground crew, were unlikely to recover the money owed to them because the airline's assets were minimal. As well as stranding 4,000 passengers in Australia and throughout the Asia Pacific, the budget airlines collapsed work. Air Australia had sold about 100,000 tickets for flights that had yet to be taken, leaving those who paid with anything credit cards out of pocket. Air Australia was grounded in the early hours of yesterday morning after a fuel supplier in Phuket refused to extend credit. It led to Air Australia's chief executive and owner, Michael James, placing it in the hands of voluntary administrators. The airline's administrators said the best estimates were that between $10 million and $20 million were owed to about 100,000 tickets, while millions of dollars was likely to unsecured creditors, including airports, caterers, parts suppliers, and governments. The collapse of yet another Australian airline had highlighted the need for tighter consumer protection laws. Air Australia passengers who booked using credit cards should be entitled to a refund for their unflown tickets from their bank. But customers who booked by other means and did not have a travel insurance policy covering them are unlikely to get their money back.
And those were our business reports for today. Up next, we have to take a look at sports. Don't go away.